Hi everyone, it's Alex, and today I'm here to review Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. Convenience Store Woman is a story about a woman named Kiko who's in her mid-30s as she works in this convenience store for at least more than 10 years, and how people around her are often critical of their commentary on Kiko's ambition as well as her social life. Though what I am happy to know or realize in this story is that Kiko is actually someone that is full of ambition. She doesn't really necessarily have her head in the clouds to where she doesn't feel apathetic to finding new opportunities. Instead, she is very welcoming of finding new opportunities and ambition in her current job at the convenience store, even to the point where at one point her coworkers are asking her about her love life or her social life, and she keeps feeling very frantic and manic about trying to get these items out in the store on time because there's the promotion going on. I've also heard that this story is often described as very quirky by some people, which I do agree, although I was really surprised by how much more there was to this sort of quirky presentation, as I think really a sort of talking point with this book is commentary on depression and actually high functioning depression. Between Kiko explaining the things that she really enjoys about her job, apart from thinking about it obsessively, she also thinks about things like keeping her body up to speed by making sure she goes to bed on time, but also by eating, but not really tasting the food she's eating, and then also not really considering her hygiene later in the story concerning the conclusion or aftermath of certain events where she doesn't care about her hygiene. And even early on, there is this part that Kiko says, I think it's on her way to work, where she says that she likes the feeling of the world slowly dying. So despite all of these things that I am saying, I don't want to get you wrong to say that this book to me, this book is really very light and it's very fun to read. There's this sort of deadpan quality to it with Kiko's voice as a character who she's so endearing to read about. But there are these sort of signs that I feel like I couldn't help but pay attention to. One, including how Kiko always mentions that there's this customer that comes into the convenience store that always says that the store never changes, but really there's a lot going on behind the scenes with Kiko's thoughts about her coworkers and eventually as her love life develops. I won't spoil anything, but it's like this convenience store is this purgatory of where Kiko always feels stunted, but is constantly reminded of her social interactions and social pressures to even feel like her life is stunted in the first place because she's perfectly happy already. Although happy is an interesting word for me to use because I feel like I didn't really notice my thoughts on Kiko's depression until we meet another character in the book by the name of Shiraha. Shiraha is a new person that works at the convenience store with Kiko, and as she gets to know him, he realizes that he has these thoughts on life that are also very ambitious of things he wants to do in his life that don't involve the convenience store, but it does come off as very lazy, and he is very much an awful person that has these very non-progressive thoughts about women in particular. There's even a part where Shiraha says that women, specifically Kiko, are lucky to be ignored because they're not expected to do very grand things in their life. And I feel like with them, Shiraha and Kiko being sort of two sides of the same coin, they both also deal with certain relatives or siblings that are trying to berate them into happiness. In Shiraha's case, it's a lot worse because he has a sister-in-law that's constantly trying to find him to owe money back to her that he sort of took from her, so he's sort of on the run, so to speak. But it's clear that the sister-in-law doesn't really understand where Shiraha is coming from, and that sort of makes him feel depressed. And then we have Kiko, who has her sister that constantly tries to get her to be more proactive about her life, even though Kiko is proactive in her own ways with the store. But there's even a part where Kiko's sister asks Kiko, why can't you be normal? Which I took for meaning, why can't you be happy? But as we know in the real world, all of these emotions, whether happiness or depression, success or being normal or just fitting in, is all very subjective and perceptive. And I think this book does a really great job at sort of laying a foundation for all those concepts without being persuasive. And I really enjoy that. And I also really enjoy Murata for writing a very despicable character that is Shiraha, because I can only imagine it takes so much energy to write such a dumb character. So those are my thoughts on Convenience Store Woman. I really recommend this book. I wish I'd read it sooner, but I can totally understand why it gets all the hype that it does. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.